And good evening, everybody, and welcome live here to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for tonight's Trackside Edition show here from the campgrounds of NHMS. So for the people walking by, hello. Hopefully you guys are all having a nice night and enjoying your weekend so far. And for everyone watching online, welcome to the center of the world right now for NASCAR. Couple of sheriffs walking by. Hey, guys. Hey, we got no issues. They're not giving us dirty looks. That's good. We got the go-ahead. All right. So on tonight's show, we're just going to recap what happened today at New Hampshire Motor Speedway with some input from my co-host tonight, Mr. Thomas Everson. In case I didn't say it, my name's Devin Poslusny, and I'll be leading or piloting the ship tonight. It's been a long day. Sorry. So, on tonight's show, we're just going to talk about the Whelen All-Star Shootout that happened today, as well as NASCAR Cup qualifying and the K&N Pro Series East qualifying. And if the results load, I'm going to try and go over practice speeds as well. But first, we're going to open right up with some late-breaking news out of the NASCAR or Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series garage. Kyle Larson's qualifying time was disallowed due to a unapproved rear deck fin, and that brought Martin Truex Jr. to now be the pole sitter for Sunday's race. So with that being said, I'm assuming that Kyle Larson will have to start at the rear of the field, so he'll be starting 39th instead of first, which is actually going to make it for a very exciting race on Sunday.
Yeah, it will.
But, so like I said, right out of the gate here, we got some big news for you. Kyle Larson's time disallowed from qualifying that happened 2 hours ago, and Martin Truex Jr. will now start on the pole. So, little backstory here. After Larson initially won the pole, I went to his trailer and I got this license plate thing. This way we had like a winner's thing.
Yeah.
Well, someone go get Martin Truex Jr. thing real quick.
Didn't you have one from last year or something?
No.
I thought we had one sometime.
Nah. So that is the big. That really just sets the bar high for this show. So for those of you in the campgrounds that didn't hear, Martin Truex Jr. will now be the pole sitter for Sunday's race as Kyle Larson's time was disallowed. How many times can you say that in a 5-minute span?
I don't know. What was it last year? We were talking about something else and we just marked it down.
Oh, yeah. We were going off a word.
It was, I don't remember. Might have been rain or something, but we don't like that word.
I think it was. Anyways, so let's work backwards through the Friday schedule. The K&N Pro Series East will run their United Site Services 70 tomorrow night here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. They had their qualifying and practice efforts run today, not interrupted by rain at all. And we got some film of their practice, and then the camera died.
Fun.
Yeah, it wasn't a good day for racing hotspot technology. GoPro died, camera died, my phone died. Surprisingly, this isn't dead yet.
We had issues with the wiring and everything.
Yeah, the wiring, we had an issue. It's really...
Been a long day.
Knock the dust off of everything before we do our first show. But anyways, here's the top 5 starting lineup for the K&N Pro Series East United Site Services 70 tomorrow night here from NHMS. Starting on pole will be Chase Purdy. Ronnie Bassett Jr. will start second. Todd Gilliland will start third. Harrison Burton will start fourth. And Sheldon Greed will start fifth. That is the top 5 for these United Site Services 70 tomorrow night from NHMS, or from the track behind us. So that was how we ended the day. Then we'll backtrack here to NASCAR, or darn it, hold on, let me just read the hat. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series qualifying, which the top 5, or actually now the top 4, because I don't remember who qualified 6th. I'm trying to load that in right now. But starting on pole for Sunday's race will be Martin Truex Jr. Starting alongside of him will be Mr. 7-time Jimmy Johnson. Matt Kenseth will start 4th, and Jamie McMurray... Matt Kenseth will start 3rd, and Jamie McMurray will start 4th, and once again, Kyle Larson will start 39th. I'm trying to load the page that had all the, the complete lineup and everything, and the wireless hotspot over there is being really slow. Backtracking here, excuse me. Backtracking here a little bit more, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour had their All-Star Shootout run today, kind of like the prelims to the big race tomorrow, but they had their race run today, and it was 35 laps. 40 laps for the scheduled distance.
Yep.
But due to the time restriction, they were only able to get 35 in. So here's the top three. Ryan Priest got the overall win, followed by Ryan Newman finishing second and Patrick Emmerling finishing third. Excuse me. It was a crazy last lap. Now, granted, the modifieds are always crazy here.
Yeah.
Every time we do a show here.
Every year there's one in the wall, one on flipping, doing a backstretch or something. I mean, they're always crazy here.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
fun to watch.
Yes. And as I was saying, we filmed the race today, so that coverage should be online by the time this show's online. But as I said in the coverage, this is their Daytona. This is the Modifieds Daytona, and I know I even mocked myself in the coverage saying, "What? No, Daytona's huge compared to this." Well, you're right, but compared to the Modified Tour, this is huge.
Just keep coughing.
Talk.
Well, I mean, for the modifieds, this is a really big track. I mean, most times they're on all the short tracks, like the quarter miles and stuff. I mean, but here it's just so much bigger than what they're used to. It's like Daytona is just so big for Sprint Cup. I mean, they're mostly on not such big tracks, but like for modifieds, this is really big.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Sorry about that. I'm getting over a head cold, so I just got a tickle in my throat. Hopefully it won't come back because I'm out of water. Anyways, so going back to qualifying. Dang it. Going back to qualifying for the Cup Series, Casey Kane will start 5th for the Overton's 301. But keep talking about the modifieds real quick.
I mean, modifieds are always like a big race here. I mean, that's what I really come here to watch. Is modifieds, I believe, in my opinion, are the most entertaining to watch. I mean, there's a lot of good hard racing. Sometimes it's not the cleanest racing. They have wrecks. They have a lot of wrecks, really. I really like to watch when they have the nice, really tight, clean racing. I mean, that's really what I like to watch. I mean, when I race, that's personally what I like to race in, is really tight, clean racing. I mean, there might be a little bump and a little bit of rubbing, but that's just kind of what happens. But when they get to the point where they're wrecking cars constantly, that's kind of where it gets, like, it's overdone. I mean, here, especially with the speeds they're going compared to most tracks, 'cause it's so much bigger, they wreck hard and they're just not used to it. So the contact when they get contact together, it just destroys cars and really affects them.
Right, definitely. And the size of the track for the modifieds, they have to run a restrictor plate here. Yeah. And these guys can get on each other down the straightaways, link up, and draft. Yeah. And it's crazy.
It's like, I used to race go-karts, and we always raced on these little tiny go-kart tracks. Then there was a quarter-mile track, and that was literally drafting. If you didn't draft, you were done. I mean, when I first started, I didn't like being on people's bumpers, but once I learned that's what you need to do, I was running right there. I mean, the big tracks you got to draft. If not, you're just not going to be there, and you're not going to be fast enough to win. You're not going to be able to pack.
Right. Well, last corner, Ryan Newman leading Ryan Priest into turn 1. Sorry, last lap. They go up into the corner, and Priest got onto him, sent him high. Newman didn't hit the wall, just went high.
Just kind of moved him around a little bit.
Yeah, moved him up a little bit, and Priest was able to get around and win. But compared to other finishes we've seen, that's pretty sane.
I mean, really, you see that a lot in racing, though. People last lap, but they really, really need that spot. They really want that spot. They're going to move you. I mean, there's moving and then there's wrecking, but really moving isn't always the best choice to do either. It gets you the spot, yeah, but it's not the best way to do it. Just pass them clean and get by them, and really good. I mean, there's other ways of doing it. You can get on them, let them know you're there. You can get side by side with them, and if you're racing with some good, clean drivers, they'll give you the room you need if you have the position.
Right, definitely. And And other than that, though, it was a nice job. Other than that, though, it was a really clean race. First 20 laps, did you see it at all?
No, I did not.
All right. Well, then keep acting like you did. The first 20 laps, it was green flag, and then the second 15 wound up being very clean and quick to the point.
Yeah.
So there was no cautions, and I said it in the coverage. I wondered why there weren't, and then I thought about it and went, well, most of these teams aren't like Hendrick Motorsports or Joe Gibbs Racing or something like that where they have multiple cars here. Most of these teams, they race today, and then they put it in the hauler, and tomorrow morning they'll roll it back out and race tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these kind of more like family teams, like with me.
Right.
We got the one car, we wreck it, we're done.
Right.
The bigger teams, they wreck it, they roll out another car, roll
Right.
out another car, roll out another. It's like when we go down south, there's all these teams. Kids will go destroy their car. Their dad will be like, get the next one out of the hauler. We'll go back out, finish the race. I mean, just don't think about you have another car. Don't think about it that way. Just finish the race with that car. Don't wreck it. And it's so much better. It saves you so much money, too.
Right.
I mean, that's
Right.
the best part. I mean, then you can do more racing. I mean, but if you just go out there and you just have the mentality, I got another car in the trailer, if I wreck it, whatever, it's not really gonna get you anywhere.
No.
I mean, then you don't improve as a driver, and you can't excel and like get to where you need to be without doing it right.
Right, and that's why some teams, when you bring on a rookie driver, and if he wrecks too many cars, he's not longer with that team.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Roush Fenway do it. I don't know who it was, but they were like, dude, you're costing me too much money.
There's
You're not
like
bringing in the
wrecking
money.
where if you get involved in stuff and you can't do much, that happens. I mean, it's happened to me a lot. Then there's wrecks where you caused it and you just weren't thinking, you weren't racing clean, and you just cost your team a bunch of money.
Right.
I mean, it happens, but you really don't want to do it.
Right, and racing's racing, as you said, it happens.
Yeah, like I've been involved in some incidents where it was racing and it's destroyed cars. We were racing too close and stuff happens, but I mean, sometimes you just kind of got to go, and if it happens, you kind of just got to get through it and hope everything's good and hope everyone's okay.
Right. Well, yeah, so it was a clean 35 laps for the modifieds, and tomorrow, as I also said in the coverage, I won't be here tomorrow, but it should be an entertaining 100 laps for the Eastern Propane Oil 100, or Eastern Propane, not oil, just propane 100. But backtracking even more, the Cup Series had a practice session this morning, and this is practice one, the only practice they've had besides qualifying. Kyle Larson was fastest, Martin Truex Jr. was second, Kyle Busch was third, Blaney was fourth, and McMurray was fifth. So that was the first practice this morning. The Xfinity cars, practice one, Kyle Busch was fastest, followed by Matt Tiff, Spencer Gallagher, Daniel Hemrick, and Brad Keselowski. Practice two, let's see how fast these load. Oh, wow, look at that. Kyle Busch was also fastest, followed by Brad Keselowski. Ryan Preece got third fastest, Kyle Larson fourth, and Matt Tiff was fifth. So, one of the things I did want to talk to you about with being the driver mind that you are.
Yep.
So, they put on this sticky adhesive, I think it's VHT, on the second to third line, and then they drag tires to try and give these guys multiple grip and lanes to choose from.
Multiple grooves to race through.
Yeah, and we saw early, in practice, nobody really did anything because they were just single file.
Yeah.
But in the modifieds, we saw it work because I think it was Ryan Preece goes into turn one, standard New Hampshire textbook pass, goes in side by side, and usually at that point you get him. But then Newman on the high line pulled around because he had that grip.
Yeah.
Whereas, like I said, normally Newman would have let off because he knew he was going to.
He wouldn't have the grip and he'd just lose it.
Yeah. So then in qualifying for the Cup Series, they had an issue because we did get a quick sprinkle during the Xfinity final practice. And I wonder if that maybe greased up the track a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
And the Cup guys, they went out in the first round. We saw guys leaving pit road, going into the corner, going down the back straightaway, and then half throttling it across the line and going right back in. And it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Track's just too wet. I mean,
yeah.
You don't want to be out there when the track's wet during practice and just go wreck your car. I mean, it makes no sense, really.
Well, it wasn't even wet.
It wasn't?
No, this was during qualifying for the Cup Series, and I wonder if maybe just the wet from the previous practice and then the jet dryers, that just made it slick for the drivers. And the temperature also dropped a lot, as you probably know, because we went from...
That changes the track completely.
Yeah.
I mean...
So, as a driver, coming into this weekend, this is the third race this year that we've seen this used. We saw it at Bristol earlier and Charlotte. But as a driver going into this weekend, you have this going into a relatively flat racetrack. What do you expect? I mean, Kyle Larson's thinking, woohoo, dirt track. But, like, all the other drivers, what are you thinking?
I mean, some guys are going to have to kind of adapt to it and use it. I mean, there's multiple tracks I've raced on where there's multiple grooves you can race on. You can race first, second, or third groove. I mean, no one really goes with third groove because that's just leaving way too much room unless you're 3 wide. And, I mean, I race Legends, so one car, you can fit 3 cars into 2 lanes. I mean, but, like, you can go up there and you can use that second groove. And if you can get it, the car's good for that groove, you can really use that groove. I mean, there's multiple tracks. Like, I know personally up in Speedway 95, second groove's always a good groove. There's guys that come there and they set up for the bottom groove because no one's ever on the bottom groove. They bring it down the corner. They pass everyone. They pass 3-4 cars a corner, and they drive to the front and drive off. I mean, you kind of just got to have the car adapted to it. You got to have the driver adapted to it, too, to be able to run that. I mean, first time I was there, I was like, running the top groove, what's this? I was like, I guess I'll try. I mean, it works. But it's just like, you really got to adapt to it. I mean, that's the biggest part of it. But if you can get both grooves to work, like, you could run, and you can run right to the front as long as you're fast enough if you can get them both working.
Right, and I see what you're saying. So, I mean, but as a driver, do you set up your car for one groove, or do you go into a practice and say, let's try this setup for this groove, and then...
You kind of want to get, I mean, the groove you're most likely going to run the most, you kind of want to get the car really good on there. But you also want the car to run pretty good on the other groove, too, so that way if you have to use it, you're fast still. So you kind of got to set it up for a little bit of both. But you want it as best you can get it for both grooves. But if you prefer one groove, you want it the best there and have the other one just a little bit off. But you still want to be able to run both grooves if you need to.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to need them both. I mean, it's NASCAR. They're always using different grooves. I mean, they really need to set up cars for both grooves.
Right. Definitely. Well, we'll see what happens on Sunday. And we'll go from there. But, on tap tomorrow, I don't know if I have the internet access still here, but for those of you here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway who are looking for tomorrow's schedule, give me 1 second, it'll load up. But we got 3 races planned for you. The NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour will run their Eastern Propane 100. The NASCAR Xfinity Series will run the Overton's 200. And the K&M Pro Series East will run their United Site Services 70, as well as a bunch of other practices going on for the Cup Series because they've only had 1, so I think they're going to have a total of 3. Xfinity Series has qualifying tomorrow, I believe, at 11 a.m. I'm not 100% sure, though. Like I said, it is loading, so just give me 1 minute here. But, yeah. So, all in all, race weekend's kicked off pretty good.
Yeah. It's been pretty decent. I mean, I didn't get to watch anything today, but from what I've heard, it's been pretty good. I mean, I heard, who was it? Chase Purdy was on the pole, right? He was in Legends, I believe, last year, the year before. I mean, that's the name. As soon as he said it, I didn't know he was here racing, but I know the name. I mean, Legends, he's one of the big names that was in Legends. So I'm really excited to hear someone that came out of Legends to be on the pole here. I mean, that's big.
Right, definitely. So, like I said, I believe that the Xfinity Series will run at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It's being super slow. My luck. But, yeah, so Sunday we have a show here, Sunday morning. I believe we're going to do it at 12. Pre-race show for the Overton's 300. We'll recap tomorrow's action and look ahead to the afternoon. And then we have a post-race show on Sunday night after the race. To recap all the action there. I'm going to go try and get rid of this cough. So I'm just going to abandon the schedule idea here.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it's loading very well.
No. So, try and reload. But, yeah. So, once again, for those of you who do not know, out in the campgrounds, Kyle Larson's time was disallowed in qualifying. So, Martin Truex Jr. will be on the pole for Sunday's race. And that moves everybody up. So, you're going to have Martin Truex Jr. first, Jimmy Johnson second, Matt Kenseth third, Jay McMurray fourth, and Casey Kane will roll off fifth. And I look forward to seeing the highlights from tomorrow's races and see how that second groove comes in.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because definitely I saw in qualifying there were drivers running the second groove already. Like they were going in.
If they want to just get the car set up for that, they're going to do it. And if they can use it, and there's only a handful of cars on there, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of cars using it, but a handful of cars are going to have their car set up pinpoint for that groove, and they're going to be fast, and they're just going to take off from the field as best as they can. Honestly, it might be the best groove to run. You don't know until you see some racing on it.
Right, and I do know that when I walked up and I saw Xfinity practice for the first time, I saw multiple drivers just running right to the bottom groove, and I was like, oh, well, all right, nobody's testing the water. And then later on, Kyle Busch went from that bottom groove, and then he went to the second groove. So maybe what you said was what he was doing. He was getting the car and figuring out what he needed to do to set it up for that bottom groove.
Yep. Or what he needs to do as a driver to be able to run that groove and drive it. Because honestly, that second groove might be totally different, I mean, grip-wise. So you're really going to have to either drive it harder, you're going to have to, it might be easier to drive on. So, I mean, you just got to feel it out and see how it goes.
Definitely. Well, the schedule is loading. I'm looking for tomorrow's schedule. Does the sound guy have his thing? We might have a hard copy. Stand by. Oh my gosh, I just saw my breath. I thought this was July. Is it not July?
Oh, it is.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
We do live in New England, though, so it could be like 20 degrees now. You never know.
Good point. All right, here comes the schedule for you guys. Tomorrow, triple header Saturday. Thank you so much. All right, 11 a.m. the ticket booths open. The track gates open at 8 a.m. the ticket booths open. 8:30 is when the track gates open. Modified Tour has their qualifying at 9 a.m. Cup Series practice has their Cup Series has their second practice at 10. Xfinity has their qualifying at 11. Cup has their third practice at 12:30, and at 1:40 the modified driver intros start. 2 o'clock the modifieds Northeast or United Site Services 100 starts. The Xfinity Series will have their driver intros at 3:30. The Overton's 200 will start at 4. And approximately around 6:30, the K&N Pro Series East will have their driver intros, and approximately around 6:45, the K&N Pro Series East will start. And then the Children's Walk for Speedway Charities with Joey Logano is at 8 o'clock. So for those of you in the campground who want to participate in any of that, there you go. There's your schedule. Also, you can find the whole schedule on New Hampshire Motor Speedway's website at nhms.com. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else you want to say on Friday?
Nope. I mean, I think I covered everything I thought about the races this weekend.
Sounds good to me. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here in the campground for Trackside Edition. For the campers out there, don't worry. Only 2 more shows of listening to my voice, and then we'll be done. But for the rest of the weekend, like I said, we got Sunday morning pre-race, Sunday night post-race. Nothing going on tomorrow because I won't be here. I actually am going to, with DP Production Group's going to cover 2 all-star soccer games in southern New Hampshire. Sorry, race fans. But, yeah, it's Vermont versus New Hampshire. So many eyes are going to be on that video. I thought I might as well take the opportunity. But, anywho, so thank you for being on as always.
Yep.
Thank you all out there for listening and enjoying the show tonight. And enjoy the racing tomorrow. For those of you watching online, have a good night, and so long.